Hola amigos de Wine News TV, les invito a conectar conmigo y con mis invitados en Wine News TV On The Go, un podcast que a su vez es un espacio donde aprenderás sobre el mágico mundo del vino a través de invitados de todas partes del mundo que nos contarán sobre sus proyectos para obsequiarnos de forma embotellada música, fuego y leones, como decía el gran maestro argentino Jorge Luis Borges en su poema Soneto al Vino. Wine News TV llega a ustedes gracias a Aerionet, nuestro aliado en velocidad y confiabilidad. Gracias a ellos, cada episodio y cada contenido que subo en las redes fluye sin interrupciones. Sube rapidísimo. Si tú también quieres un internet que no te falle, llama al 787-273-4143. Entra a aerionetpr.com o búscalos en redes como @aerionetpr. Vamos arriba. Hello, my dear Wine News TV listeners. We're doing this one in English with my friend Devon Larking. I've interviewed him in the past. I've worked with some of his brands. Of course, we are at the Fine Wine Celebration event, courtesy of Plaza Cellars. And today we're going to be talking about and talking about two delicious wines that I always have trouble pronouncing. Beaulieu Vineyards, and this is a fantastic, when I say fantastic, legendary and historic Napa Valley property. We're doing their Sauvignon Blanc, and then we're doing a red, the Hewitt 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon, Rutherford, Napa Valley. How are you, man?
I am very well, thank you.
Happy to be back in PR?
Love Puerto Rico, glad to be back. I spent the last couple of weeks traveling, went to the New York Wine Experience. Our BV George Latour 2021 received number 2 on the Wine Spectator, so we were highlighting it. Glad to be in Puerto Rico as always.
You travel to the island because you work with a whole bunch of different people down here, and I've seen pictures of you at events. And would you say that you come here like more than once a year?
Yes, I'm probably at my peak. It's 4 or 5 times a year.
And where are you based at in the States?
I live on the East Coast of the United States. I manage Latin America for Treasury Wine Estates, so it's easier to fly. And plus, my wife is from North Carolina, and she gets to choose where we live since I'm gone.
Of course. Oh my God, yeah. The wife is the boss.
That's right.
It better be happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
So when you have PR in the calendar, it's an easy thing to do. It's not bothersome.
It is certainly not bothersome. This time of year is hit or miss. With the storms, but we the culture, the wine culture here in Puerto Rico is very unique. It's very special, and the people are amazing. It's always nice to come here.
Touch on that for a bit, if you don't mind, Devon. So you get to travel, and all of these neighboring islands or countries are dear to our hearts. We are, as you know, proud American citizens, but in spirit and we're Latinos. We're Latin America, so we feel very close to the Dominicans, to the Panamanians, Colombians, and the Dominicans, of course. So talking about market and talking about culture, wine culture, how would you, and not that I want to compare to in any way, shape, or form, say that we are better than others, but I think we've been drinking wine longer than other neighboring islands or countries. How would you describe Puerto Rico in comparison with the other markets you get to visit?
That's a great question. Every island is unique. Every country is unique. Puerto Rico, to me, what surprised me the first time I came 20 years ago to sell wine in Puerto Rico, I was fascinated by the draw and attention that California wines had in this market. As you say, a Latin market, but Puerto Rico is very much Puerto Rico. I don't like to compare Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic because they are two different places.
Of course. And then it's not the U.S. neither. It's a hybrid.
Right. So we obviously there's some comfortable Spanish wines that do very well. and people can find some comfort in some of those wines. But California wines, and there's people that champions of the California wine industry that have been in Puerto Rico that have promoted these wines for decades, by the likes of Jorge Wolf and Carlos Montalvo.
May he rest in peace. I was gonna mention Carlitos. Yeah.
Yeah. So people like them that's championed this industry in this market for many decades and have opened eyes to some spectacular wines. I mean, Napa Valley, California is a very, very special place. For over a century, we've been making world-class wines that have competed on the world stage.
We were talking off mic before we started about how long I've been doing this, and you've been selling wine for 20 years?
I've been selling wine for more than 20 years, but 20 years in the Caribbean and Latin America.
So I've been doing podcasting and social media for 20 years now. And when I started, I was working at a law firm. This is my hobby, wine. As of the past 4 or 5 years, I've started to fortunately monetize it because it takes up a lot of my time.
Sure.
But when I started out, I was working at a local law firm, and I had to travel for work: New York, New Orleans, Chicago, Miami, like big cities, metropolitan cities, metropolitan areas. And whenever you travel, I guess you do the same. You buy stuff that you don't get at home. Like, you cannot access those things at home. And I remember traveling to this, big cities, important cities: Chicago, New York, Dallas, and I would go to wine stores and I would start looking at the racks and whatnot. And I would say, well, this is in Puerto Rico, this is in Puerto Rico. Like, of course, there were wines that were not available here, just like you have wines that are available here that you cannot find in New York or Miami. But I guess that as opposed as to what may be the case in other areas you visit, when you go to a wine store here, you have the world at your feet in terms of availability.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are wines that are hand-selected, curated for this market. So Hewitt, for instance, that we're tasting today is not available in any other Caribbean country.
Because of how premium it is.
It's very premium. It's very small production, single vineyard California wine. So we don't offer it to everyone. There may only be 26 packs that land on island per year. It's not. It's very, very small production.
Right.
But we know the market is they're proponents of California wine. They love seeking out new wines and fun wines, and I it's one of those things we make a decision commercially whether it's a viable market, and Puerto Rico is absolutely one of those.
Yeah, and before we go into the wines, I always say that Puerto Rico has this convergence, this three tiers or these three realities that sort of coexist here. Obviously, as U.S. citizens, as part of the customs zone of the United States, we have access to everything that comes into the nation through the ports of entry. We also have the dollar, and we have a rope. Not that we're doing super well, but we have a solid economy compared to some of our neighbors. We also have this Spanish heritage that, as you know, Puerto Rico was part of Spain up until 1898. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of people here. For example, my mother-in-law, she was raised by a grandmother who was a Spanish citizen by birth in 1897.
Oh, wow.
Like, they were Spanish. So
1 year later, it was...
Exactly, the change of sovereignty. But a lot of people here grew up with Spanish customs. And through that, there's this huge sort of adhesion or this big sense of familiarity with Spain as a whole, not just wine. And through that relationship, we've had access to some of the best wines from Spain. They make very good wines. But at the same time, we are not European and we're Latino, so we feel very close. Let's say when the World Cup happens and Argentina is in the final against, a European country, we feel close to Argentina and Chile and Uruguay. So by that same token, we love to buy their wines because we feel we're supporting their economy. So again, it's a very interesting mix back here.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about wine is that you can open up a bottle of Argentine Malbec in a restaurant in Metropole in San Juan here and transport yourself to these places.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of wine. as a beverage.
All right, now that we've talked a little bit about, reconnecting you and I, let's get into the wines. The Napa Valley Sauvignon Blanc from Beaulieu Vineyard. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. So
happy
good to see you.
Good
Cheers.
to see you again as well. Give me the recipe. You haven't aged 1 year.
Yeah, right.
So, very nice color, not that deep, pale, but then on the nose, high aromatics, an explosion of fruit, but also this lovely herbaceous minerality, it's a refreshing note of cleanliness as a whole. When you go into a room at a hotel for the first time and everything smells clean and fresh, there's a lovely also flintiness to this. It reminds me a bit of, after New Year's Eve, when the whole street smells like gunpowder a bit. There's some minerality here that I cannot pinpoint exactly. I mean, here in Puerto Rico, we get a lot of Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, Chile,
Right.
also from California. But this is a step up. I mean, I don't want to badmouth any of those wines, but those are more often than not pool and wines you take to your boat, to your yacht.
Right.
This is a gastronomic, linen cloth at a restaurant. This is a
serious wine.
It's a serious Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. So, Napa Valley, the first thing that comes to your mind is red wine. But there are plenty of white wines that are planted in Napa Valley, including Sauvignon Blanc. And Sauvignon Blanc, this particular Sauvignon Blanc is planted in Rutherford, right outside the winery.
Is there any Semillon here?
There's a little bit, yeah. There's a little bit. So it benefits from the warm climate. This is a relatively new wine for us, for BV. We're very excited about this wine in particular. It's a great food wine, and like you said, it's orange blossom, it's peach.
It's magnificent because it's powerful, but it's not fat, it's not sugary, it never becomes sweet. I mean, the Semillon will add that unctuosity on the palate. Is there any barrel here?
Yes, very. There's about 40% of French oak barrels. So
Very
mostly
little.
stainless steel, but French oak is included. Yes.
But it's magnificent because it has acidity, key to white wines, as you know, and then that power, that generous fruit in the palate stays as fruit. It never becomes candy. And a lot of white wines from warm climates can reach that point of sweetness that, I mean, here I get salinity and the orange blossom, let's just put it that way. A lot of aromatics, but the essence of an orange is its acidity. It's a citrus fruit.
Right. So that lends itself to be a better kind of food wine. So you could talk about grilled fish or shellfish or, like oysters, crab. It's a fantastic wine, or even a light salad. And this can also, the acidity can cut through some heavy pastas like an Alfredo. So
It's fantastic. It's a delicious,
very refreshing
Sauvignon
wine.
Blanc. What's if you manage this number? What's the price point here in Puerto Rico at a store? If you have it, if not, I'll look it up.
I believe it would probably retail around that $20 range, $20, $25.
I think you're making a mistake. Is that the case? For a Beaulieu vineyard,
For the white, yep.
White, this quality, I thought you were gonna say 45, 50. It's what's the production here? How much?
It's not much. I don't know the exact number, but I can't say that it's more than a few thousand cases. It's not much at all. There's not enough planted fruit.
This is the type of wine you don't know whether to drink it or wear it as perfume. It's so elegant. It's so clean, and oh Jesus, what a lovely, lovely nose. I am enthralled by this wine. Love it.
Beaulieu is such a, you've talked the story of Beaulieu vineyards plenty of times, but it's one of those wineries where, it's Napa Valley royalty, right? So since 1900, Andrei Chelachev, there are a lot of things that come to mind when you talk about Beaulieu vineyard. Sauvignon Blanc is not the first thing that comes to mind.
Beaulieu deserves an episode, a lengthy one. I have like 25 minutes for each of these interviews that I'm going to be doing today.
Right.
But let's connect next time you're in town because Beaulieu has a very extensive
Go through the
lineup
history, yeah.
and talk about this. And the reason why I ask about the price, and I'm surprised positively so by the fact that it's under $30, is that this is royalty. I mean, this is a place that's been around for a long time. And, you know, just the name, just that label, the VV, famous VV Napa Valley, which
Right.
appellation that has gone up in price. I mean, the fact that you're selling it for $25 is something that us consumers have to be grateful for, because you could easily, not because just of the brand, but because of the quality, you could sell this Sauvignon Blanc for 45 and people would still buy it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So if you and I decided to quit our day jobs and go move to Napa Valley and buy fruit and start our own winery, we would have to charge a lot more than Beaulieu Vineyards charges, because but we've owned these vineyards for over 100 years. We farm over Treasury as a whole over 4,000 acres in Napa Valley. So with 550 wineries, with 40,000 acres planted, Treasury has control of over 4,000 acres. So our winemakers have carte blanche to pick what fruit they want, sell off whatever they want, and produce some of the most high quality wines and give them to the consumer at a reasonable
I'm gonna do a separate review for social media for this, Jorge. If you don't mind, just put it in the fridge for a bit. All right, let's go to Hewitt. It's been a while since I last had it. This is Caldo de la Calandriaca, cream of the crop. This is Cinderella's missing shoe, Cleopatra's pajamas. This is Jamón del Cairo, Cairo's ham. Tell me, those are my stupid.
So that's
my
really
stupid
funny.
nomenclature.
Yeah, I love that. Cleopatra's pajamas.
Yeah,
So,
they should have been. Imagine the power of that woman.
Yeah.
She must have had very comfy pajamas.
She must have. So, Hewitt, to me, the first thing that comes to mind is single vineyard, single origin wine. So this is Rutherford in a sense. So this is the 2018 vintage, and as you know, 2018 was a cheat code of a vintage, a spectacular vintage in Napa Valley. These wines are made as a sense of place, of terroir, of what Rutherford is. So it's very small production. I believe it's about 58 acres. It might be up to 60 acres, but 58 acres of planted Cabernet Sauvignon on the western side of Rutherford. So right across the train tracks from Beaulieu Vineyard. These wines are hand-selected lots. We bottle very, very little.
How many bottles you guys make of Hewitt?
Less than 5,000 bottles.
The power of the fruit is so compact. This is a 7-year-old wine, and it's not even in the phase of waking up. I mean, it's the concentration, everything has to be unbundled here. I mean, this is a wine that, you know, a plane when it's climbing that you cannot take your seatbelt off, and you cannot go to the bathroom. I mean, this is lifting off. I mean, this is a wine that's going to last 40, 50 years. It's
these wines
the concentration of the fruit there is fantastic. I mean, this is a type of wine that the fifth glass is going to be so much better than the first.
Right.
Wow.
And your friend Trevor made this particular vintage. So Trevor it's a little side project. He was the winemaker at Hewitt in Provenance before coming to Beaulieu. And, you know, it's just spectacular fruit, sense of place, Rutherford dust, if you will. So you get that cocoa powder in the mouthfeel and like iron fist in a velvet glove, you know. So this is a 7-year-old wine. This has many, many years to come.
The fruit is very ripe, but it's not saturated, nor cooked, nor sweet. And you can achieve that, and you don't feel that intensity because it has a lift. It has at the end this note, this very, you know, well-polished tannin, and a nice acidic structure that will refresh that power of fruit. And I always have this analogy that if you go up to 200 miles an hour in a Ferrari, you don't feel it. Like you don't notice it. If you go to 200 miles in a Fiat, you'll kill yourself. Yeah. So this is high-end fruit with high-end, very, very top of the line winemaking. I mean, the finesse, the length. There's this salinity, this closure that will, destroy a T-bone steak or a piece of meat. This is a gorgeous wine. This is a 98 plus point wine any day of the week. What's the price point here? $300?
This is very expensive. It's at a little right around $200 a bottle for us.
And the name Hewitt. Who was Mr. Hewitt?
Hewitt's just the name of the vineyard.
Okay,
Hewitt Vineyard. Yes.
This is 100% Cab.
100% Cabernet, yes. And so, yeah, it finishes with that. What I like about it is that it starts with that typical Cabernet, but it finishes with like a toffee. It's like a very smooth kind of textured finish. And
let's do, for those out there who are going to buy a bottle, if they're able to find one, let's do a little mano a mano tasting note thingy. All right, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Let's do this. And what do you get in the nose? I'll start. I get black currant.
Black currant, black cherry, cassis.
I get a minty note, like a minty menthol.
A little
minty.
menthol, yeah.
Yeah. What else you get there?
Just dark fruit, blackberries, like ripe blackberries. And a little bit of sage, even. A little bit of sage, a little herb.
There's a little herbal note there. That's the lift, that's the freshness. And a tiny bit of that cocoa, the spice, something from the barrel, perhaps, but very sort of in the back office. I mean, it's not prevalent. Sometimes you have wines that are just this whack of chocolate and vanilla and the oak. Here, you cannot masquerade the fruit. The fruit is gorgeous. It's like biting into the fruit, and the fruit has to have the natural sweetness of the fruit, but also the acidity, because it's a living organism. It's a living thing.
Right.
Let's go to the palate. How do you feel it on the palate?
Oh, well, I had the opportunity to listen to David Ramey from Ramey Wine Cellars last week talk about some of his Chardonnays. And speaking of mouthfeel, he said, quote, the main event is in the mouth.
Yeah.
So the main event is in the mouth. The nose can give you 90% of what you're getting ready to taste, but the main event is your mouthfeel. And you can create a wine that smells good and is ready to go and looks great, but when you taste it and it creates this mouth-filling front, mid-palate, back palate, experience with a really long finish, that's when you know you've made a quality wine.
It's suede. I mean, it's the blue suede shoes that Elvis Presley would sing about. Gorgeous finish, loads of fruit, juiciness on the palate, but also complexity, elegance. It's a nuanced wine, and it's starting out. I mean, it's delicious now, but it'll become more evolved. It'll be just as delicious as it is today in 10, 15 years. It's going to grow at a glacial pace.
Yeah, so we managed to secure, I think, 180 bottles for Puerto Rico. So it'll be here in a couple of weeks. I can't imagine it's going to last long.
Of course.
But we did get some bottles into Puerto Rico, and we're very excited about having it here and having some of the collectors get access to some of these wines.
Yeah, we definitely will make sure that people know that it's a finite, a limited amount, and that if they want to secure a bottle, they should call Boutique Duban right away. Thank you, Devon, so much, Vice President for Latin America for Treasury Wine States. They carry a lot of great wineries and labels very dear to the customers here in Puerto Rico. And hopefully we'll get together and do a Beaulieu episode. Next time you're in town, give me a call and we'll have a sit down. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Friend.
Please come to Beaulieu and we'll do the sit down there. How about that?
I gotta fly my drone over the vineyards. We should do that.
We would love it. We'd love to have you.
All right, my friends. This has been episode 2 from the Plaza Cellars Fine Wine Celebration. Cheers and salute. See you later. Este fue el episodio de hoy. Recuerda dejarnos una reseña para que nos ayudes a crecer, suscribirte y recomendarnos con tus amigos amantes del vino. No importa cuán avanzado estés en el recorrido de enamorarte de aquello que decían sobre el vino. Son uvas transformadas en poesía. Aquí hay espacio para todos. Salud y como siempre, dale share.